So today we're aiming to do something like this, or this if you give it a little more time. Okay, so what I like to start out with when building anything actually is to add a reference image. So if we press Shift A, image references, have this image, you can find a link to it in the description, and this is the image I have lined up from Wikipedia. So go to the object data properties, and I want it to be in front of the object, and I only want to see it from the front, and I don't want it to show up in a perspective. And right now I cannot see the cube, and that's an issue, so we need to activate the opacity and set this to 0.3. And now we can drag down the image, so we put it somewhat in the center, like that, great. And we can call the image front. And while the image is selected, we can duplicate it by pressing Shift D, right click, and now we call it side. Great, and this side is selected. We can rotate it around Z 90 degrees, and if we look upon it from the side, we want to move it a little more to the center. So G, we can drag it in, but it's important that we only move it forward and not in the height. So to control this, let's press X, so we can only move it in the X axis, like that. Great, somewhat like that, and we select the side, the light, the front, and the camera, and press M, and make a new collection that we can call Seal. Perfect. Okay, so now we can look upon it from the front, and we can select this, enter edit mode, and we can press right click, subdivide, and then Shift Alt S to make the cube a little bit rounder, something like that. And we can scale it down, and we can drag it up like that. And we can look upon it from the side and start to give it a shape. And if we drag like this, you will see we did not get the other side. So let's undo that and activate the X-ray mode. And you can also toggle it by pressing Alt Z like this, but we want it on for now. So let's select again, and we can drag it backwards, and we can starting to set the shape of the skull like this. Great. And now we can select, press Alt left click, select these vertices, and press Ctrl B to create the area between the eyes. And I also want to add an area above the eyes, so let's press Ctrl B and drag like that, and drag them upwards and scale out in Y. Great. And we can actually drag out a new window like this, and so we can see how the skull looks. Okay, great. Right now I think we can I want the line here as well. So let's press Ctrl R and make a loop cut down here. Great. And we can actually make a mirror of this. So let's create a loop cut in the middle, and we can activate the X-ray mode and just select these vertices, press X, and delete them. Oh, I forgot 2 of them. And now we can go to the modifiers, and we can add a mirror modifier, and it should go over Y. Great. So now everything we do on this side will be on the other side as well. So we select the eye socket, or where the eye socket should be, press I to inset, and we can just extrude. We can extrude in X, something like that. And I think also we should add an loop cut in the middle of the eye like that. And now we can select these 2 faces, and let's press I to make an inset again, and you can see the border will not work for us, so we need to press B, and it changes how the border behaves. So this is good, and we can just shape it a little bit. GG to edge slide, and I actually think we need to Yeah, I think I want another line here as well to get a little more information like that. And we can just select these and drag them inwards. But as you can see, we actually have gotten lines here. We don't want that, or faces, so let's just delete them. And this is because we didn't activate clipping from the beginning. But no worries, we fixed that. So now we just need to add the upper jaw. So let's create a loop cut there. And if you look from the side, you can see that the eye socket is really far back. So we need to fix that. We just drag it, select those and drag it backwards. And actually, if we now turn on subdivision modifier, we can see that we actually starting to look like something. So you can select these faces, and just drag them backwards a little bit, and maybe scale them down. Great. And that nose we also need to maybe scale down a little bit as well. Okay, so now we need to think about this part, because here is actually a hole through here. You can see it here. So we need to add a loop cut. Actually, we can just set the shape a little better first. Like that. And now we can create a loop cut. We can drag it over here. I can select these. Just drag them backwards. We don't need to drag them backwards. And now I want to have another loop cut in the middle. Like that. Great. And now I think these faces are going. I made a mistake. Let's undo this. It should be that one instead, of course. Let's just drag it down. Like that. Great. And let's refine this a little bit. GG. And GG. Oops. GG. Yeah. You will need to work a little bit more with this later. I just show you the quick way to solve this. So if you look upon it from the side again, so this part will be the bone, and I think I want to delete that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Yeah, let's just delete those faces, and we have a nice hole in the head. And we can select these two and make an inset like that. And now we can just extrude it upwards. Somewhat like that. So I want to scale it in X. And I wanted to bring it close to the other edge. And I want to delete the faces on the top. Great. And now we can just drag it down. So this is the trickiest part of the skull. But if you get this correct, it will look great. Perfect. And we can just select these. Make a face. And we can select these two and make a face. And we want to raise the vertices in the back. We can drag them up like that and forward towards our like that, and it's starting to look like something. So I think we need to move this closer. So this is a bit tricky, so let's just check what's happening here. Like that. Okay. So now what I want to do is just try to shape this a little bit, where we can select those two. Whoops. And F to create a face. We need to move that back a little bit. and these two to create a face. So now we need to add some loop cuts to make this look good. So we want one here, right? And then I think we need two more. Whoops. Like that. Okay, so if we now press F, 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 and we can press, select this two and F, 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 F. Great. And if we turn on the subdivision modifier again, we can see that, yeah, we got a nice hole through the head. So now we just need to fix the topology. So we can select these, drag them back, and select them, edge slide a bit back, edge slide, and here we actually want a quite marked bone structure part. So yeah, you need to elaborate with the skull to see what looks good, but I think this really starting to look good. So let's add just a little bit details so it will look prominent from the side. We can see the nose is not correct. So what vertices do we need to bring out? Maybe this one. I can bring this out a little bit, and also these two I think will, whoops. I've started to press F instead of G, and that's no good. A really bad habit. And oops, again. And let's just drag them out like that. We can take this one and just drag it in, and then this one to drag it out. Great, and we can pull this up to 3 and add a shade smooth. And depending how much details you want, we can add another loop cut here, and that look horrible. You understand how you can work with the face, but this takes time to get the look great. So you just need to work with it until you feel happy. Okay, but something like this. So we can just, let's press Alt Z, and then just work with the face, and you can press O, and then we can activate this proportional editing, and we can just, it's like a really helpful tool. I really think this starting to come together a lot better, so you can just and we can also drag a little bit like that. Okay, and if you get to not nice vertices, we can always do like right click smooth vertices, and it smooth them out. And same here, we have an issue. Let's just, it looks better. Okay, so for the teeth, there is a trick I think that will save you a lot of time, and that is if we take these faces, we can actually extrude them one more time down, so we get a little more definition, and then we can press Shift D. So now we have a copy of those faces. Press P and separate selection. So now we have a new part here, and we can press K to bring out the knife, and we can just, okay, we abort that, and we don't need the subdivision for this part, and we can just press K like that, and we can select these faces, and then we can we can select these vertices. And now when we have this line, in the center of the jaw, we can press right click and take convert to curve. So now this is a curve. Let's redo it. We can press, before we kill the subdivision, let's press Ctrl A. Okay, we need to Ctrl A. So now we have many curves, a better curve. So this will work, but it's too many, I think. So let's just select, check deselect, X, dissolve vertices, and we can do that one more time actually. Checker, deselect, X, dissolve vertices. So now we have a much better curve for this thing that we're planning to do. Great, and we can just select this one, press Shift S, cursor to selected, and then we can add object, set origin to 3D cursor, so we get the origin point of this curve over here. And right now it's not a curve because we undid that. So let's press right click again and convert to a curve. Great. And then we add a mesh, a cube. Let's scale it down a lot, like that. And we can enter edit mode, and we can right click, subdivide, press Shift Alt S to make it a little bit rounder. And then we can select the bottom part like this and make an eye and drag it up right now. And you can see right now we have proportional editing active. So let's press O. I thought. Let's press O to turn it off, and G and drag it up like that. And I actually want to add a subdivision surface modifier again. And as you can see, we want to scale that down so it looks somewhat like a tooth. But every teeth look different, but we don't have the time to fix that in this tutorial. I want to add an array modifier. Let's just set it to 4 or something. And then we add a curve modifier. And let's, the curve object is this one. Okay, my naming is not great. So this one is the skull. And this is a good example why it's important to name your objects. And this is a teeth. And that is the teeth control. Great. So, and now if we select the teeth, we can see that we don't actually need the whole side. So we can actually select all of these and just delete them. Great. And right now it's going the wrong way. So let's just change this to -1 and it go the correct way. So we can, and then we can just add teeth like this. And as you can see, we need to move them forward a little bit. Like that. And sometimes it's just easier to adjust the teeth control curve. And you just need to fix the teeth to your liking and how important they are to you or not. And when you're done with the teeth, let's select the teeth and then add a modifier. Over the head and over Y. Like that. And if you want to work with each tooth individually, you can just press Ctrl A on the array and then press Ctrl A on the curve. And now they are all teeth. And if you want to divide them, you can just press A. In edit mode, press P and buy loose parts. And now you can edit each tooth individually. Great, but we can bring that back because I want to keep the array and the curve. So now I want to make the teeth in the lower jaw. I want to take that, the teeth control, Shift T, drag it down, down here. And let's just select these and press Shift D and drag it down. And we can just rotate that teeth around 180 degrees. And now we want it to follow the teeth control, this one, 001. Great. And to get, we can actually hide the teeth controls. And we can hide the teeth in the upper jaw. And to make the lower jaw, we can just select these parts like that, press Shift D, drag it down, something like that, and press P by loose part. Great. So now we have this, and let's enter edit mode. And let's just start to work with it. So extrude it downwards. Great. And let's look upon it from the side. We can take extrude over here. Let's bring it up. And then we can just look upon it from the front. Yeah. And we want it to go out like that. Great. And we can see here what's happening. And then you just make 2 loop cuts here. Whoops. It's really hard right now. And then if we look from the side, we can actually take these, drag them up, scale them down, rotate them a little bit, scale them up, move it over here, look from the front, what's happening. Rotate maybe like that a little bit. Something happening here that's not completely correct. But you understand. If you give this more time, it will be better. And if you look from the side, let's just drag it up. This is the one that's going through the hole in the head. So let's GY drag it out like that, and we can actually scale it, make it thinner. Great. And the last thing we need to do is this part. Actually, we can drag it down. Oops, I didn't mean that. This part, we need to add an inset. And let's drag it down, rotate it around X, and scale it in X, and bring it forward. And this is kind of the part. You can see it's a bit tricky to get it. But this will be the part that the back part of the jaw will rotate against. Whoops.
Yeah.
And let's bring it out a little bit. Out and down. And let's just take these vertices and bring it in a little bit like that. Okay, great. And now to the most, and we are almost done. I think if we give it more time, it will look better. But the most important thing is that if we do like that, Control P, we set the teeth to be parent to the bone. Great. And now if we set the rotation point here, so let's press Shift S, cursor to selected, and then object, set origin to 3D cursor. And now we need to just realign the mirror. And if we now rotate the lower jaw, it looks almost good. The teeth is having a blast. So we just need to set the teeth control. The lower, let's just name it. Lower, great. Take this one to this one and set Control P to the object. So if you now rotate around Y, it follows. Great. So that's a fun way to do an animation. So, and where did the upper teeth go? Okay, there. Great. And we should have fixed the teeth before. And the last thing that I want to do is add a material. So we can just go to shading. And if we look upon it from the front, I can drag up this. I want to add a noise texture. Let's just drag it into the color, to the base color. And right now it gets some kind of strange rainbow color. So let's scale this up to 12. And the roughness all the way up. Great. And the details, I want some details left like that. Great. So now I want to add some color, a color ramp. Let's put it here. And I want the lightest color to be some kind of yellowish, like that. And the darkest color, I want it to be brownish. Something like that. We can take it even more darker. Okay, and then I want to add the same noise texture value for roughness. So we can drag this over here. And we need to control this better by adding another color ramp. We can put it here. And if something is completely black, it's completely glossy or shiny, as you can see. So when it starts to come like that, I can change this black color to be a gray color instead. Until I'm happy with the glossiness like that. And then we can also add, this is no gloss at all. We can drag it here and just add a little bit of gloss. Like that, okay. And the last thing we can do is to use the same noise texture to add it to a bump map. So we get some structure in the head. We drag it to the height and take the normal to normal. And right now it's going to be really bumpy. Like that. So let's just turn it down to 0.7. Yeah. And let's just add materials for the teeth. Great. And these teeth are really too wide. So let's just scale them down. Yeah, and this look kind of okay. And if you give it more time, it will look better. And this was just a quick tutorial on a skull that can take a really long time if you give it all the details it needs. Hope you liked it, and if you like stuff like this, please like and subscribe.